Yes. Okay, it's only a four.
All right, now we're going to get started with Hal doing the communication.
Another reminder that anybody that wants me not to be up here praying to join the committee and come on and do the invocation. All right, let's pray together. Lord, as we come back together after 2 weeks off, after having a time with family and really an idea of thankfulness in our whole lives, we come back to Rotary with the same attitude today. We thank you for everyone here. We thank you for the new faces that are here. We pray, Lord, for David and the leadership that they would continue to guide and direct this club as we get settled into this place, this new place. And just continue to guide and direct each of them in their duties and for their committees and as we move into the new year. Lord, we thank you for the food. We thank you for our speaker. We pray for him as he puts so much time into making the city a better place. So if you be with him, and please bless his food and our bodies in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Hal. You ready, Julia? Okay.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous tide o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
So while you're standing, we'll recite the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, and do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? All right, thank you. So just a note on the voting. There are 7 people that get elected today, and then there are 7 that get put on the ballot passed by the president, and we'll have another election on the 15th for the board, and then after that board will be with Laura and me to determine who's your next president-elect. So thanks for all that.
David, do you need past presidents to meet afterwards?
Not yet. We got to get the list first, but yes, we will need to meet.
Okay.
But not right after the meeting. We got to get the 7 off the ballot that get elected today, and then we'll fix 7.
Okay.
Thanks, Andrew. So I'm going to ask Phil to come up and do this thing here.
Welcome, everybody, to the first meeting of December. We have 1 visiting Rotarian. It's Rob Bunderberg from the Lake Murray Club. I also saw a whole bunch of guest badges, so if you have a guest, if you could stand up and introduce them, and I'll start with Lee.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I have a new friend, Jim Young. He's a former educator, owned a Montessori school, and he's doing wonderful things in our community and overseas. I want all of you to meet him so you can know about his wonderful mission. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I have as my guest Nick Gathos. He's a local tennis pro. I just call him pro. He's a pro, but he's a Heathwood coach and teacher. Yeah.
Finner's Auto Detailing.
Thank you, and everybody welcome. Good to see you again.
Thanks, Bill. Now I'm going to ask young Miss Clarks and Margaret to come up and just do a brief announcement while she's eating her ice cream.
What's going on? What in the world?
Tell us about your swim
Yeah,
trip.
what is going on
Okay,
there?
y'all, there's a slight confusion here. So I am a Gamecock, but I lost a rocking bet. So I have to have my photograph taken every hour in this sweatshirt, no matter where I am all day long, or I have to pay big bucks. Because you know I work for an architect firm, and if anybody's an architect in South Carolina, they went to the school up north. So we all know that, so please forgive me. So the reason I'm up here is not to defend this t-shirt, this sweatshirt, but is to tell you that William's in Charleston with the Nutcracker, and he's asked, please, for me to remind everybody that you've got amazing live performances. It's the South Carolina Ballet, it's at the Coder Center. It is December 13th and 14th, and 20th and 21st. And so the cool thing is the nighttime performances have the live orchestra. The daytime performances are really more for the little kids, and it's recorded music, but it's fun because the little children are talking and laughing the whole time, so it's really a sweet thing. But please buy tickets, it's an amazing thing. It's the only live orchestra ballet in the Coder Center this year, so it's a really neat thing. And go Cox!
Thank you, Margaret. So Ron Graham is coming up. Andy mentioned a little while ago, we got bell ringing coming up. We have about 25% in.
We've been about a third shift.
Okay, third of the slots are still to be filled. So if you haven't signed up, or if you signed up and want to do another shift, please see Andy. There's a link on the weekly email too. So just please, let's fill these up, okay? If you haven't signed up, please do so. I have a lot of fun doing it, and I think it's a great thing that we do. So please participate.
All right, everybody, the food packing event is this Saturday at 8:30. It's not in this building, it's not at Seawells, it's up there at the big building, and the address is 320 Senate Street. It starts at 8:30, and I really need y'all's help. It's a new location, we're doing 30,000 meals. We have to put the meals on the Richland One truck right after this year, and so if you plan on coming, I also would really love your help with putting the meals on the truck. And I also told Dupree and all of his staff that we would help them clean up a little bit. In years past, I know the mac and cheese powder and all the food gets everywhere, and they have an event in that building right after. So also, if you can come, I want your cleaning skills as well. But it'll be really awesome. If you're coming, please wear a hat, or you'll have to wear a hairnet. And if you have any kids that are old enough to pack, 12 and older, your spouse, please bring them. Richland One's going to be bringing 36 volunteers, so I would love if our club could also have as many. Am I missing anything? 8:30. Please be there. Thank you.
Thank you, Graham. I want to just again publicly thank Graham for all the work that she does. It's a lot of work, and she does a great job with it. We've increased our number of meals this year, so we got a bunch of people from Richland One coming. So we want to, not going to competitive, we want to outnumber them. I'd like to anyway. Next, I've got an introduction. So y'all are obviously familiar with Cart Fund, and I've got Rod Thunderberg, who's going to come speak to us. Rod is, of course, in the Lake Murray Club, Rotary Club, and let's see. Rod, here's just a brief introduction. Rod's a long-time Rotarian and the immediate past president of CART. His involvement in CART goes way back to its earliest stages. Under his leadership, he has seen awards for Alzheimer's research reach record levels. Let's give a warm Rotary welcome to Rod Thunderberg.
As has been mentioned, I represent the CART Fund. We are a nonprofit. We raise money to support research for Alzheimer's. 100% of what is donated goes to Alzheimer's research. We love our donors, whether you're a one-time, once-in-a-lifetime donor or you're a regular routine donor, we appreciate you. And we want to truly appreciate those who regularly give. And so if you give at least $60 a year, either annually, semi-annually, quarterly, or monthly, we have created what we call a Roger Ackerman Circle. Roger Ackerman was the founder of CARP. And so there are some of you in this club who are members of that circle. I want to recognize you today, and that's why I'm here. And so as I call your name, if you would quickly come to the front and let me present to you a Roger Ackerman pin. And I know that some of you will not be here, so I'm simply going to call the names, and if you're here, please come forward. John Backus, excuse me, and I'm going to butcher some of these names, I'm sorry. Frank Brown, Wayne Cannon, Stephen Creech, William DePaz, Bruce Dyer, Elizabeth Gober, Lee Lumpkin, Belinda McCoskey, Keisha Arpahana, and Ann Walter. Any of those that are here, please come forward.
Thank you, Ron, and thanks for all y'all's commitment to the CARP Fund. Obviously, it goes for Alzheimer's research, which is near and dear to my heart, and I'm sure a lot of other folks as well. All right, next, without further ado, I'm going to ask Kelly Augustine to come up and introduce our speaker for today.
Good afternoon. It is my true pleasure to introduce our mayor and my friend to Rotary today. Daniel's political career began in 2002 when he was elected to the Columbia City Council. Actually, y'all, we're not going to do this. We know and can all read what Mayor Rickenmann has been doing for Columbia, and what he is doing cannot be done without a great support team. I told you I was going to go off script. I would like to take this opportunity to talk about Daniel's wife, Dr. Laura Herlong Rickenmann. And I hope that's okay, Daniel. Well, she's pretty great. Dr. Rickenmann is a very well-respected pediatrician here in Columbia. She and I met shortly after delivering children, my son Henry and their daughter Carlisle, on the same day within an hour of each other. Of course, Daniel and my husband were there as well, but the two of us did all the work. We spent the next 18 years raising children through elementary school, all the trials and tribulations of middle school, shared birthday parties, chaperoning junior prom, and everything else in between. When Henry, who's now 26, was 13, we had to find a new pediatrician. And I asked him if going to Dr. Laura was going to cause any kind of embarrassment. And he asked what I meant, and I said, well, you know, she's going to have to see all of you, and you go to her house to see Carlisle and hang out at the Rickenmanns. And he looked at me and he said, it's Dr. Laura, it's fine. And I can tell you that the two of them have had, through adulthood, some tough conversations over the years built on the trust between a doctor and her patient. When I asked Carlisle, their eldest, how she would describe her mother, she immediately said, gosh, there are so many words, and this was just this past Wednesday. She said, I think selfless is the #1 word that I would choose to describe my mom. A close friend of Laura's said the following about her. Laura is the most kind-hearted, selfless friend. She is always there to share a laugh or hold a hand when needed. She wears her heart on her sleeve, and I love that about her. I often tell her that I don't know how she gets it all done, but she makes it happen, always putting everyone first, and the people around her feel special. And I would wholeheartedly agree. Laura has many roles, a mother to 2 outstanding young women, a friend to many, a daughter, a sister, a caring pediatrician, and Daniel's partner. I now give the podium up to Dr. Rickenmann's husband, Daniel, our mayor.
y'all are gonna be really disappointed that Laura's not here. But first of all, happy holidays to everybody. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I know I did. It was nice to have a couple days off, just be at home with family and really enjoy it. But really excited to be here. Excited that y'all have agreed to stay for the next 2.5 hours with us as we take a tour through Columbia, talk about what's happening. We're in a very great place in the city of Columbia right now. I just have to tell you, where we've been, where we're headed, and the things that are happening are so exciting. If it's from the riverfront to the opening of Finley Park, to the investments internally at the city, to the growth that we're seeing, people recognizing that Columbia is a place to live, work, and raise a family is a compliment to all of us. It is truly a compliment to us because we knew it, they didn't. And now people are discovering what we have to offer, and they're making investments here. We've got some really exciting things coming down the pipeline. A couple of great announcements coming this week. The Gather Columbia is opening up on Friday at 10 a.m. That's our food hall at Bull Street. I think you'll love it. There's another big announcement on Wednesday that's going to be exciting for the folks downtown, filling a void, but there's a lot of things happening. And what's so exciting about it is that we're seeing it at every level. So just this past year, we had 1,500 new business licenses. 1,500 new businesses opened up in the city limits. From home-based businesses to medium to large, businesses are coming here because of the atmosphere that we have and the support that the community gives them. And as we're out recruiting, and I say that, we go out, we don't wait for people to come to us anymore. We go to their communities and we say, we want you to come here. We want you to be part of Columbia. But we also do that because I want to see what they build in their community. I want to know the quality of investment that they make in their own community because that's what I expect when they come here. We're seeing a record number of housing being built right now. Last year we did 898, I think, single-family homes were built and close to, no, I have that reversed, excuse me, 1,700 single-family homes and 899 units of apartments built, which is where we need to be targeting. We need about 15,000 units just to catch up, and that's without the growth. Right now in the Midlands, so think about this, from Batesburg to Camden, there are about 28 people a day moving here. They're moving here from all over, and it's not Northeast, and it's not Chicago and other places. It's places like Birmingham and Richmond, Charleston. People are coming to the capital city to be part of what we've got going on. So it's really a great blend. But also, 7 out of 10 of our military families are staying here in Columbia, South Carolina. Those folks that are at Fort Jackson are making a choice to stay here and be part of our community, which has created a great workforce. Part of that is how do we continue that talent? So now we've got this military workforce, we've got a workforce from our universities, and that's us engaging with our university students. Y'all, we have 75,000 students here right now. 75,000. 6 colleges and universities, all growing, all being part of our community, but the relationships are running much deeper. We have a president at our flagship university that's engaged. We're part of the discussions is growth. We're having dialogue about how we need to think about future growth and everything, and they're involving the students because students are worried about housing and costs. Students are worried about safety. Students are worried about parking. It's not just the neighborhoods, it's not just others, the students as well. And we created a collegiate engagement council for all 6 colleges and universities who meet with us on a monthly basis. And part of that was to engage the student population. Why are y'all not staying in Columbia? Number 1 issue was housing. They're looking for housing downtown. They want to live, work in an area where they can walk. That's why they're flocking to Charlotte and places like the south end of Charlotte. There's a reason why Lowe's moved their entire administration office into south end of Charlotte. It's because they knew they could recruit the young talent that wanted to be there. We're seeing the growth downtown. We have more interest. We have hotels coming here, 4- and 5-star hotels now looking at Columbia to make that investment. That elevates. Why does that help us? Because we get close to 16.7 million visitors. So we're up about 700,000 visitors. Our night stays have moved closer to 6 million. They were at 5 million. Why is that important? Those are the folks that are spending money in our restaurants, our convenience stores, our retail stores. They're spending money downtown. It's an important part of our economy. And it all plays into all the things that are happening because people are discovering that you can come to Columbia and you can go to the museum, you can go to the zoo, you're gonna have the riverfront, you're gonna have Finley Park now, which is just opened after $25 million renovation. And I've gotta tell you, it's incredible. If you haven't been there, you need to take the time to go down and check it out. It is absolutely stunning. It is what a central park in our community should look like. And the greatest part of it is, it was all designed internally by our landscape architect, Todd Martin, who then went out and found all the right people to work with to make that dream happen. Internally by letting our staff get engaged. And that's what we started 4 years ago, is getting our staff engaged. Because you can't build a great city from the top down. It's got to be from the bottom up. Engaging with those employees, understanding where the hurdles are. We're in the customer service business, so how do we change that? Are we perfect? Absolutely not. Do we still have things to do? Absolutely we do. But we're improving every day by training, technology, investing in those employees, and giving them the autonomy to actually do their job. And that's the key difference. And then we see it across the board. We got less people taking sick leave. We got less vacation time. We got people getting things done in time. We got development teams coming out. Never met a friendlier group. Just got a compliment from Kelly from our parking division, which most people, when they call me, it ain't a compliment about parking. I'll be honest. So to hear that, that tells us that the investments that we're making are working. But that's what's drawing people here. Our riverfront, right behind us is going to be a riverfront park and development. It's going to be $2 billion worth of investment happening right here. 19 respondents from across the globe to take a stab at being the designer of this park that's right outside this window. Tied into a trail system. Y'all, we're going to have 27 miles of trail on the river. Then you connect the trails between KC, West Columbia, City of Columbia, all the way up to Saluda Shoals, Irmo Chapin, where you're going to be able to go all the way to the dam. So think about this. You're a guest in town, and you're staying in the Vista. You're going to get on, you can walk over to West Columbia, have breakfast, go into the backside of the zoo, see the beautiful botanical gardens, hop on the gondola, go across the river, get to the other side, walk all the way up Candy Lane, all the way past the I-20, everything, go all the way up, maybe stop at one of the hammock parks, maybe throw a fishing rod out, throw your kayak out, but you can go all the way to the dam, come back, go over into Elmwood Park. Maybe you stop at Sumter Street, maybe you stop at Curiosity Coffee on Main or Enda Coffee, get a little rejuvenation going, make your way to Bull Street. Maybe you grab an afternoon meal or an early dinner, catch a Firefly game on your way back, you roll through, come through the tunnel right there by Finley Park, catch the tail end of the jazz concert that's going on, make your way through the Lincoln Tunnel back into the Vista, and you never got in your car. That's what people are looking for. That's what's driving. That's what's going to make us unique. And on that pathway, you could be at the zoo, you can be at the State Museum, you could be at the Children's Museum. You have an opportunity to explore the region all together. That's what people are coming for. What else are they coming for? The #1 farmers market in the country. Yes, our Soda City market's the #1 market in the country. Drawing anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 people, depending on the Saturday, downtown. And these folks are coming from everywhere. I've met people from all over the United States. People coming here who are coming for the weekend. They're not tied to the university. They're not tied to a business. They don't have any family here. They read articles about what's going on here, and they wanted to be part of it. They couldn't believe that they'd never been here before. That's because we're telling our story. We're sharing who Columbia is, and we're growing. And we're doing it the right way, which is messaging what we want. We want We want true investors who are partners. We want to create collaborations with our business community, our neighborhoods, and others. Y'all, we have 2,100 empty lots across this city. Housing should not be a discussion for us, but it is. We need housing at every level. Middle market study shows 85% of all our needs in the future are baby boomers downsizing, single moms with no kids at home, and millennials and Gen Zs who are not interested in traditional home ownership. That means we need townhouses. That means we need condos. That means we need quadruplexes, duplexes, and others. It's not just single-family homes. So finding the appropriate places to add that as we grow. All of that comes into play in the future of growth of Columbia, but when you think about it, 2,100 empty lots. We discovered the city owns 63 residential lots. We're building on those now for first-time home ownership opportunities. Building a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, all brick home, under $200,000 with guaranteed mortgage rate less than 6.5% for 30 years. An opportunity to get people in and start rebuilding some of our inner city neighborhoods that have been abandoned. An opportunity to grow those areas and build back that infrastructure that we had and become a whole city. Giving opportunities all the way across the board. Attracting the right developers to come in and bring us to help us fix those pieces. We're finding more and more people want less house. You remember we were battling the mansions, 20 years ago, and today now everybody wants smaller or less footprint. They want to be able to go and enjoy outside and be part of the community and engage in everything from our art museum to our festivals. You know, we have 328 events a year here. That doesn't even count what we're going to have in Finley Park. So yes, we have a lot going on. And it's going to continue to grow. What's even greater about it, while all this is going on, we're still investing in public safety. We're down double digits in crime all the way across the board. All the way across the board. How are we doing that? Even though we're 80 officers short, we invested in technology, we invested in training, we invested in retention programs. And yes, we're doing some crazy recruiting. Some of y'all may have heard me say this, but last year, about this time and through January, it was really cold. We sent pizzas to precincts in the coldest cities in the U.S. with a scan card in it. And when they scanned it, it opened up this beautiful video showing our riverfront, everything else. And today, it's 65 degrees. You could be playing golf. We're trying everything we can to get more officers here, but I got to commend my chief and our staff and everybody for what they've been able to do with the resources they have. They're working smarter, not harder, and they're doing with less bodies. And I commend the officers, because if you spend any time with them and seeing what they do on a day-to-day basis, but we can't stop trying to figure out ways to support them. Yes, I want those 80 officers. But technology today plays a bigger role. We need our state legislature to help us. Look, if I had red light cameras and speed cameras, I could solve a lot of issues. Average officer spends an hour and a half in a wreck. If I had a red light camera system and people weren't running all these red lights, especially at Kilburn and Divine, if you've ever been there, you don't push out as soon as the light changes because you might get hit. Any of these other intersections, if those cameras and stuff were there, it would prevent that. It's proven that it works. But guess what? That means that officer could be doing something else. We're supplementing with unsworn officers as well, folks that are unsworn personnel helping us with false alarms and other things so that we can keep our guys doing what they do, and we're seeing the difference. We're going to continue to do that. Continue to invest in everything from, when we talk about public safety, it's not just police, it's not just fire, it's also public works. Lighting is a big part. Trash is a big part. We cannot allow things to illegal dumping and everything else to go on, because that creates an atmosphere that breeds trouble. Broken windows is a real thing. Fixing, taking care, and start building one piece at a time. And that's what we're focused on. We're focused on the city. We're going to grow and bring people here, but we're focused on our investments. And then it's technology, business license online now, much easier for people to do it. Don't have to put your taxes up, but if you get caught cheating, we're going to get you, all right? It's your choice, but we're making it easier for you. Permitting process. having the ability to get a building permit easier, working with our staff to get them more ability to make decisions, having to balance quality of life issues. They're not easy. You know, we're having STR discussions. STRs are, short-term rentals are a great thing for a community, but at the same time, we gotta have a balance. It doesn't ruin the quality of life in neighborhoods. Conversations with our universities about how we need to balance for the future, for the growth. University's grown to close to 42,000 students. How are we balancing that and the impact? And looking back at how do we change some of our future growth there and help guide that into the right place. And these are conversations that we're having to ensure that we have the balance. Because we want to be the #1 city in South Carolina, not by population, but by quality of life. And we can do it. I could go through every department we have and tell you so much investment, so many things that are doing so many positive things. If you look around at the park investments, investment in pickleball and tennis, all the things that we're doing is part of that quality of life. Our roads, you know, we passed the penny sales tax. 28, so we only control 28% of the roads. Everything else is the state, but our 28%'s got a 10-year road plan. We've got the money now that our roads are going to start in 2027. For the next 12 and a half years, we're going to be redoing every road the city owns. Same time, we're going to work with our county and others to take that excess funding, sit down with the state and say, all right, how do we fund every road in Columbia? Because if we show up to the table with a large chunk of money and say, we're here to partner, because we've done it before, we can get these roads done. That means we have 30 years worth of road life. Because right now, all the money is going to the highways and bridges. That's where our state, all that money is collected at the pump is going to highways. So they collected a little over $6 billion, 5.2 is highway, 200 is bridges, the rest $600 million is split between 46 counties, which the state owns the majority of the roads in, so it doesn't stretch far. So we're doing everything that we can to leverage partnerships and continue to work with the administrations, both at the state and the federal level, to leverage every dollar we can go after. Assembly Street project. Since 1905, we've been talking about two things, the Central Park and a rail realignment. Well, that rail realignment is going to happen. We got approved for $204 million, plus the $80 million that we've got match money here, and then the last 13 that we brought to the table gives us $300 million to make that project happen. That's a 5-year project. That 5-year project will change the connectivity of downtown, but also the safety. And why is it important? Train traffic's up 47%. It's a great thing for our state because the inlet port and the port are doing record numbers. Our automotive industry, who would have thought that South Carolina would become the center of automotive? Think about this. Volvo, BMW, Scout, and Mercedes Sprinter van, all being made here. 6, I think we're up to 6 now, tire company. Over 550 companies before Scout starts. They're going to add another 100 of suppliers, all here in South Carolina. We have become a major player. Moving things off the highway. It's benefited Charleston and others, but we're the crossroads, right? Columbia's the only city that's got 60 crossings. So with that project also allows us to do what's called a quiet zone. That means we're upgrading all the crossings so that hopefully they will not have to come through town blowing the horns anymore, but we also have the upgrades with new barriers and new crossings for pedestrians and cars to make it much safer around all of this. And that's part of that program. That adds another $15 million to the program that we've already gotten. We got that through the state. And part of that was from Senator Harpootlian in our delegation, making sure that we got that as part of it. So we're working at every level. But the reality is, if we want to get things done, we got to do it ourselves. We can't depend on the federal government or the state government. We got to leverage every dollar we can get from them folks. But if we want to get projects done, we got to spearhead them. And that's what we're doing. We're focused on a multitude of projects all happening at the same time, but all benefiting our community. So with that, I'll leave it open for questions, because literally I could sit here and talk for the next 2 hours. Yes, sir.
Do we control Bluff Road?
I'm sorry?
Do we control Bluff Road?
No, but I will tell you, because you're probably talking about game day traffic. So Jeremiah Danetti, myself, and the folks from DOT and DPS and Richland County and the City of Columbia are going to be getting together. to talk about a new traffic pattern for next year's season.
Congratulations on your new signs that you put up coming into Columbia.
They're looking better. It's nice to welcome people.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Mayor. Could you comment on Scout locating their corporate offices in Charlotte rather than Columbia?
Very disappointing, to be honest with you. We made the pitch. We couldn't give them what they wanted. Part of it was airport connectivity, direct to Europe and others. I was a little disappointed that we couldn't get around that, especially since it's only an hour and 15 minutes door to door. So we just got to leverage what we got. We got the plant, phase 1, hopefully phase 2, because I heard there was some kind of deal cut with the administration. We're going to get the welcome center and the test track and all of that, which will bring folks here. So we got to leverage that. I really would have loved to see them here. You know, I kept envisioning them on the corner of Assembly and Gervais Street in a brand new tower overlooking the State House with Scout Motors, because you can't spell Scout without SC, but apparently they're trying to spell it with NC. So, but you know, we did our best pitch. We didn't get it, but I had that kind of feeling that they wanted a bigger city. But you know, hopefully we'll get enough out of what's there, and between the jobs and the visitors, make up for it. But yeah, it was a little disappointing.
Thank you so much for coming today, Mr. Mayor. I'm really excited about everything I'm hearing. As I have a daughter who is finishing up her last year of apprenticeship as an electrician. So next year she's looking to buy her first home. How did these young people, and obviously she's being priced out of everything that's not going to make her completely house poor. How do these young people find access? You mentioned this new program. How do they find these programs and get assistance as these things are being built out?
You know, a lot of it being connected into our community development department. They have a whole list, and there's and I'll tell you who else is the local banks and lending institutions here are getting more invested. There's more programs right now for home ownership. Love to hear that she's an apprentice at Electro. I mean, I was gonna say, if she's looking for a job, she'll get hired 10 times over right now. But that's what we need more of that. But showing them the opportunity, that's what we're trying to create downtown, so they have that opportunity. But our community development, a lot of the lenders all know about the housing program, and I think there's going to be a lot more coming on the market because people are gravitating to what we're doing. We've been meeting with churches and other institutions who have bought a lot of land over the years, showing them how they can help support this community by putting that land into motion to get people into first-time home ownership instead of sitting on it. One of our institutions owns 33 lots in one neighborhood and hadn't done anything with it in 22 years. So we got them almost there to make that deal happen.
Mr. Mayor, hey.
Yes.
I have a question just about, in the city itself, the homeless and the drugs. I don't know how you go about fixing that, but.
So, interesting discussion. You know, one of the things that we're working on right now and going to continue to work on is the unsheltered population, because all of the programs and everything we have is not working. I hate to say it. And the administration just put it, you know, has cut back on supportive housing, which could possibly have an adverse effect to us, which means there could be about 300 people that lose supportive housing in the community, which means they're probably going to end up in a shelter or in our pallet homes or on the street. So trying to address that, working with our federal delegation, but looking at the alternatives, bringing all the partnerships together and saying, all right, it's time for us to stop having territories and let's all work together to address the issue. Other cities have done it. Tempe, Arizona, I'm going to be out there in a couple weeks visiting with the mayor there to see what they've done. It was out in Houston, and they've reduced homelessness by 60%, centralizing services. People come kicking and screaming, but at the end of the day, we got to get people into individual units. They start to get the wraparound services, and we can get the help to them. But this is where we're all going to have to come to the community. That means our university. That means our healthcare systems. That means all our little there's 100 different nonprofits that do something for homelessness in our community. But we can't continue to operate the way we are because it's not working. And we're teeter-totter on losing compassion. We tried a program and it got dismissed by everybody. Everybody's like, aren't you disappointed that that happened? I said, actually, no, because now everybody's actually realizing we got a problem and we got to address it. So at least people are coming to the table now, which wasn't happening before, but we got to have solutions. We got to start somewhere. Our little hope center that we're starting with to get the services, at least we're getting started. It's the housing piece that's going to be our struggle. And we may invest in more pallet homes. We know it works. People get their own individual unit. It costs us about $7,000 a unit to get those. But then they start to get the wraparound services, which is the key. Because if they're not getting any of the help, and this is a hard struggle because when I have conversations with certain providers, they're like, well, I'm taking care of these folks. I said, well, you are and you aren't, because you're really enabling them, because you give them all the clothes and all the food they want, but if you're not helping them get out of their situation, we're extending their situation, which is not a good thing. It's going to be a major priority for us this year to focus on the homeless situation, because the one thing we don't want to lose is the compassion. But the effect it's having on the unsheltered, the effect it's having on our business community and our residential right now, it's not a good thing.
Daniel, following up, Grace took my normal question, but let me say one thing there. We talk about compassion, but there's some of these people that it's not just getting them an individual unit. They're long-term mental illness issues, and Matt and I know 3 or 4 of them that are 2 blocks from the State House, and they're there and nobody does anything. It's not compassionate to let them live that way. Yeah. So that's one issue. The other issue is, in my lifetime, is the canal and the power plant ever going to be dealt with?
Well, if you haven't been down there, it actually,
there's work going on.
It only took us 10 years to get through FEMA and FERC. But we are moving forward. So the canal's on its process. The beauty part of that is, we did get an alternative water source out of that. So now we got redundancy built between the Lake Murray plant and our canal plant, but also now we got a direct line into the Broad River. So if you get a text message or a friend says, I know a friend of a friend who heard that you got to fill your bathtub, that's BS. You don't have to fill your bathtub. All right, that's not gonna. Our system is going to be strong. It also allows us, once the canal's finished, to get our historic hydro plant. That's 10 megawatts worth of power that we can put back in. That'll offset our canal plant and our wastewater plant, and then still give us some money to put back into other projects. So we're excited. It's about a 5-year project all the way from start to finish. Wish we could have started 5 years ago, but it's happening now. Never seen so many regulatory agencies. I didn't even know what some of these acronyms were that were involved in this. And then, of course, the last bit came in and they tried to make a change. And I want to thank both Senator Graham and Representative Clyburn, because if the 2 of them had not got on the phone with FERC and FEMA, we'd probably still be fighting with them. Robert.
Thank you, Daniel. How are you? Appreciate your excellent leadership for Columbia. I think you're doing remarkable things and kicking over all the cans and doing all the things that need to improve our community. I went through the Columbia Airport over the weekend, over the holidays, and beautiful renovations there, and I kind of did a little deep dive as to, well, how do we compare to other airports? And I noticed that the Asheville Airport has twice the passenger traffic that Columbia does. And so does Wilmington. So I'm just wondering, what can we do to? Is it a demand? Is it a supply? Do we need another airline, or what can we do?
Direct flights. If you listen to what the comments and the surveys and all the information is direct flights. That's our struggle. And geographically, we're great. We got 3 major highways. We have all this around us, but our proximity to Charlotte kills us in the direct flight game. Like right now, you want to go overseas, you can fly directly from Columbia to Philadelphia and get out. It's easy, it's done. But we need more direct flights. And one of the thought processes, and I've had this conversation with a group that does this, trying to get them to come to Columbia, is to build a maintenance hub here a really expansive maintenance hub, so that, because we got to be able to do it cheaper here than they can do it in Charlotte and Atlanta. Well, suddenly if you start to get those folks here, then that gives us some more direct flights. And so trying something creative like that, we don't need a discount airline, that's not going to help us. It's the direct flights. If you listen to the consumer, it's about the direct flights, because travel is not what it used to be. I mean, no offense, but it's not as fun as it used to be to get on an airline.
Also, Columbia's still not showing up on the flight map.
On Delta, oh my God, don't get me started. I've talked to their informational person so many times that they won't even take my phone call anymore. I said, how in the world do you have Augusta, Charleston, and Charlotte, but not Columbia, the capital city, on your radar? That drives me crazy.
Mayor, I just want, having lived on the park, I live at Governor's Hill, as you well know, and I can only compliment y'all on what y'all have done as far as the park is concerned. If you haven't been down there to observe it and look at it, I took my granddaughter down there for the first time in her life, and there was nobody there to threaten her or anything else. There were policemen there. Everybody was nice. And that little slide thing y'all got going, you should have seen my granddaughter and my wife, Grammy as she is known, sliding down on their piece of cardboard. It was quite a treat. Y'all have done a wonderful job, and I really appreciate what you're doing. The other thing I might mention too is I talked to real estate developers, being in the real estate business. I asked them who the best people to work with as far as being a developer, and they say beyond a shadow of a doubt, you won't believe it, but it's the city of Columbia. You can't work with Lexington County anymore. You can't work with Richmond County anymore. You can't work with Kershaw County. You can't work with Fairfield County. But the city of Columbia has a reputation now with developers to be the place to be. So thank you, and that's all under your leadership. Thank you very much.
It's team sport. Team sport.
Dan, we'll talk about Forbidden Distillery, just a personal. I don't see it. I probably should, but I'd like to know.
So Hal's asking me about an investment I have in a company called Forbidden Bourbon. Forbidden Bourbon is a bourbon that's made in Bardstown, Kentucky. Put the group together about 10 years ago to try to do an American Spirit. I'm like, get in the spirit business, let's do an American Spirit. Read an article about a young lady named Mary Ann Barnes at the time. She was a chemical engineer from the University of Louisville, did an internship for Brown-Forman, ended up becoming the master blender at the age of 29 for Brown-Forman, which means Old Forester, Woodford, all of that was under her blending. She was aligned to be the master distiller, left and went to work with a group of guys. Actually, two guys who went to W&L, who bought the old Colonel Taylor distillery and named it Castle and Key. She went and became the first female master distiller in the state of Kentucky, because until 1974, she couldn't hold that position. If you were a female in the distillery business, you could only be a cashier or a waitress. There's only two positions you were allowed to have, according to state law. Long story short, she left Castle and Key and ended up staying with us. She helped us develop our mash bill after 14 variations in 2 years worth of work. And she joined our group as a partner, and we've been out in the market for a little less than 2 years. It's available here in bottles and Morganelli's and Greens and all of those places. We have a single barrel that's been winning awards all over the place. So if you haven't bought anything for the holidays, we'd love for you to buy something.
Mayor, thank you for coming. Your speech has been very, very informative. I just was wondering, with respect to the homeless situation, would you elaborate a little bit more on what you mean by wraparound services? Is that a geographic location? What is it exactly?
Wraparound services is making sure that the folks are getting all the clinician needs that they need, the treatment opportunities they have. Because 85% of our homeless population currently is either mental health or addiction. So making sure they're getting those services, but also understanding the preventative part of that too, the healthcare piece. Last year, one of our locations in town had 2,000 calls of service, all right? 827 of those were ambulance visits. for really minor things, but that ties up emergency services. Then you add in police and fire to that. So what we're trying to do is eliminating all that, having one place and one service wing where they can get all of their services so that they're getting the treatment that they need to help them get out. That's also folks who simply may need to have the right paperwork, have the ability to know what benefits that are available to them, but also what they qualify for supportive housing, which is going to be our biggest challenge if the administration doesn't change what they put out there, because we could lose that supportive housing. And you talk about the mental health issues, I think you brought up earlier about those folks. Well, I would think about having a lot of other folks who need permanent supportive housing who may be losing that now, all being put back out on the street. So we're getting ready to be in crisis mode.
So wraparound services is both a centralized location or several centralized locations and centralized procedures.
It's making sure that they have all the service needs, because you can't just put somebody into housing. They've got to have the clinician working with them, the social worker working with them, making sure that they get the benefits, the treatments, they're showing up to their classes, showing up to their treatment programs, etc. So it's a really hands-on.
Good luck.
And other cities can do it, so I believe we should be able to do it. Yeah.
And along with Austin Wilk Society, we've been providing these wraparound services since 1962. But there's so many agencies that do one thing. And when Parker David hired me, now y'all hadn't been there since 1972, so that's when I first started. Parker said to me, Ann, do whatever it takes to solve the problem. And solving the problem doesn't just mean doing one of these things. So all I'm saying is thank you for expanding this idea of wraparound services, because it's so sorely needed. And again, thank you for your leadership.
Thank you. Thank you for what y'all do. Y'all make a big difference in the community.
Just real quick, Mayor. I know you're short on police officers. As Greenway comes in, and we've talked a lot about homeless encampments. You see that a lot in the bigger cities. I know there's probably a joint plan to address some of that. My question with you being short with police officers is really around the drugs and fentanyl in some of the cross-jurisdictional areas like Apple Valley on Broad River Road. How are y'all addressing that?
So two things I'll say is, number one, we've been supplementing a lot of our things with unsworn and private security so that we can address that. The issues in some areas, that thing, and obviously park rangers will play a big part. We've 46 encampments that we've already cleaned up across the city. Working across, I will tell you, since the border stuff has slowed down, we're having less fentanyl issues. 2 years ago, we had, I think, 17 deaths across the city, fentanyl induced. We're not seeing that right now, which is a good thing. But I will tell you, all the agencies, the sheriff, the chief, SLED, everybody is working together like I've never seen before. And it's great. We're also using the technology. So, I mean, they're doing everything from using the internet and social media to tracking everything, from all the investments that we made in technology, allowing us to track everything from bullet casings and everything else, tying things together, and they're sharing this information across the agencies. We're seeing a lot more, that's why we're seeing that number down. But yeah, it is, just like Finley Park, for 2 years, when we were doing the renovation, not one person asked me about the design. Everybody just wanted to know how we will make it safe. And that's what we're doing, and that's going to be our approach as we grow in each step.
Yeah, my question, some of the areas where you have Lexington County coming into City of Columbia, Irmo coming into City of Columbia, and so on and so forth, that's where a lot of folks set up in these cross-jurisdictional.
Well, we're addressing a lot more of those. And there was a couple spots out there in the Harbison area that now all three agencies have worked together to address. which is a good thing. But they're continuing to work together, but as soon as they're getting the intel, they're on it. I will tell you, it's not a perfect system yet, but I will tell you, watching the numbers go down tells me we're headed in the right direction.
All right, thank you, Daniel. Thank you.
All right, that was great. I'm sure that there's some other questions, Damon, if you have to stay around for a few more minutes.
So next week's speaker is Rick Peterson with Doolittle Raiders. So we're going to close in song.